Good morning, good afternoon, and evening, baseball fans. Welcome back to Barstool Baseball. This is a special edition NLCS preview, part 2 of our championship series preview. I'm with Chris Klemmer and I'm with Hubbs. Fellas, it's Friday afternoon. Playoff baseball is finally juicy. Klemmer, what's going on?
I guess. We don't have any baseball, Friday. Don't have any baseball Saturday. So we had 8 playoff series, 6 ended in sweeps. So I'd say this has been pretty poopy.
Yeah, but the Phillies Braves made up for it.
I don't think they made up for it. It was the best series. I wouldn't say they made up for it.
Okay. I'm hot on Philadelphia right now, and I think the national sports landscape is buzzing extensively, more than I would say years past. This year stands out very much. I think people catching on the Phillies in the NLDS, very hot story.
I think it's a hot story. I don't know if it's more than other years.
So here's something that I've been yelling at Klemmer about the last few days. He doesn't think the Phillies bring, he doesn't think the Phillies bring enough juice. Like, if they were a World Series team, and I'm not dismissing the Diamondbacks, but hypothetically, if they were a World Series team against Houston or Texas, that brings ratings down big time. I think
I didn't. That's not what I said.
Yes, you did, because then you think there's a crazy difference between the Dodgers and Phillies being in the World Series, and I think that's so wrong.
There is a difference. The Dodgers media market is so big. Okay?
Nope.
The ratings played out, so I guess.
The East Coast team being in there in Philly, more people from our area, this surrounding area, will care about that than the Dodgers. And that is the
more
market.
People in LA. So just like
they don't care about the sport. They don't care.
Let me mediate. The light bulb went off in my head about the difference here. Hubbs is saying that the Phillies have a better chance to penetrate nationally and go bigger than their market.
Yes.
And I'm going to use just like a Kansas City Royals fan as an example. Average Midwestern guy. West of the Rust Belt. North of the Mason-Dixon line. More drawn to the Phillies than will be to the Dodgers.
Without question.
I think that's just a familiarity thing.
I think it's just you guys are just using anecdotal evidence. Let's pull up the ratings. There's numbers behind this. You guys. I
don't think that Dodgers team had any life whatsoever to generate national media talk. Whereas Bryce Harper and what the Phillies are doing right now is big time. I'm not saying they would, dwarf the Dodgers, but they hold their own compared to the Dodgers in terms of national attention. No question.
Okay, this is going back. So the Dodgers, I'm going to take out the COVID year because the ratings were down so much for every sport. You can't count 2020. But 2022, game 1, Astros-Phillies had 11.7 million viewers. Game 1 for Braves-Houston had 11.7. You had literally the same audience for the Phillies as you did the Braves.
I'm talking about this year's team. I'm not talking about years past. I think this Dodgers team was so boring and had no juice to them, whereas the Phillies are at a different level.
Game, Hubbs. That's part of it. Is you have to win these games to build the juice up. Just kind of we're seeing with the Phillies. The Phillies are getting a lot of national attention because the last series is so exciting. You're not going to get them by going 0-3 in a series. That's just not
but all year long the Dodgers were whatever. They ended up pulling away with the NL West, but for a while, they were just weird and couldn't get going. And then, you have Betts and Freeman, sure, but I think with their lack of star power with pitchers and all that, I don't know. I wanted to see the Phillies more in the World Series here, and I think that helps ratings this year specifically. I think it's a very good situation that baseball has, and you disagree. You think it's not going to be good.
I don't think the numbers are going to be that high. I think it's, let's say we get a Rangers Phillies World Series, we're going to see some very low numbers.
When the fuck have you ever given a fuck about the World Series numbers in the history of us talking baseball? Or have you cared about TV ratings?
I think it's really, I love media. I love this stuff. I find it super interesting. Does it matter when I actually sit back and watch the games? No, but I enjoy very much that element of it. I find that to be very interesting.
Okay, well then why don't we set a baseline and then you can measure your enjoyment on the variance. There's a huge surplus. Because it would be unfair to say Dodgers versus, let's say it's Dodgers-Astros.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetical. And then compare that to Dodgers-Phillies. You should have a baseline of what you think the Phillies would be at the World Series. And then whatever the true TV ratings come out, if it's higher or lower than you expect, then you can say you're happy. If you're really that into it.
We have a baseline. It's 11.7 million. We've had that for game 1 last year, and we had it for game 1 the year before that.
So let's beat that number. I think that number can be beat.
I think they're going to struggle to beat that. But we'll see. We'll see what maybe what could happen though. We could have 2 great LCSs, which I hope very much happens. I hope the ratings do beat it. I'm always rooting for baseball, obviously. So I'm hoping the ratings are crazy. I hope we have a great 2 7-game series. The whole country's enraptured by this. I want all of that. So far, these first 2 rounds, I am very pessimistic.
Shane Victorino would disagree. He thinks it's the best thing ever, according to the comment section in the Barstool Baseball Instagram.
Shout out Shane Victorino. Hall of Famer in the comment thread. Has been that way for a number of years. This is a very pro Shane
Hall of
Victorino
Fame comment, then, if that's what he's stipulated. He thinks these are great playoffs.
He like laughed at us when we said that through the wild card and like one game into the DS that we said like this sucks.
The playoffs.
Granted,
suck.
the Braves and Phillies helped it. They did. It did help it, but everything else,
a 4-game series.
No, I know. No. I'm Klemmer. I'm agreeing with you.
Corbin Carroll went in and stepped all over. He's been awesome.
Yeah.
There's upsets. The Diamondbacks are furthering what you would want in the long term, Klemmer, from owners.
Like, I don't know. I mean, we can do the thing where we pretend these have been good playoffs. I'm just not feeling.
No one's saying that.
These have been horrible.
You just keep shaking your head at what we say.
Like beginnings to a playoffs since we've had an extra round that I can remember.
And I said they're finally getting juicy because I thought that was a good series to close out, and I'm very excited about the Astros and the Rangers, the battle for Texas.
Me too.
A real coin flip in the preview. Go check that out. Castellani and I just released it.
That feels truly hard to not be a great series when you really map it out. I'm sure you guys did, but like I don't see how that's a bad series.
It should be unbelievable.
It should be tremendous. Now, this one we're about to preview could go a few different ways.
Sure. We'll see. I want to tighten up opening comments. Was it starting to get juicy? I do want to emphasize this, though, and if this is a point of contention, we can spend another couple minutes on it. The Phillies broke through last night. The Phillies beating the Braves in the way they did it, and Castellanos being so fucking sweet. He's getting bigger attention outside of traditional baseball. And I'm saying that it's that Hubbs and Hubbs back me up. I've been on the internet long enough to know that when the baseball playoffs are around, when something is, higher than where it should be. And I think the Phillies in the NLDS this year beating Atlanta stands out and is higher on whatever that fucking Richter scale is. I'm not explaining this correctly, but I think they've transcended and broke through relative to like a traditional division series round. Even if the rest of it's shit.
You think the Phillies this year have become more iconic and more like beloved than teams we saw like the last like 3 years, like any one singular team the last like few years?
No, where the Phillies were last year in the DS. Mm-hmm. Who the Phillies beat in the DS to get here? The Braves, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is way bigger than that last year.
I agree with that.
I agree too. And you know why? Because it's the only one worth a damn. Like I think like the other playoffs, the other series is being better. It took some of the attention away. Here it was almost like a World Series. You had one spotlight because all the other matches were so horrible.
I don't know, dude. There was a lot of conflict with Bryce Harper.
Yeah, that helps too. There's a lot of factors, but yeah, there is definitely more significance, I feel like, in the Phillies winning this NLDS than last year, no doubt. I definitely agree with that.
I do too. But I said I don't think playoffs as a whole though are being well received. Maybe I'm wrong.
No.
Ratings are down. Everything's down. So I mean,
the Dodgers Diamondbacks was unwatchable for the most part.
Yeah. Oh, those games are horrible. They were.
Yeah, there weren't very much gripping moments.
Ugly. That Blue Jays series was a disaster. The Rays series was a disaster. If you want to go back there, like these have been just ugly, uncompetitive for a long time. We only had one game for the longest time.
Twins Astros was fine. Twins Astros was fine. It just I wish we got a Game 5. That's my only regret there. Everything else has been bad.
I don't know. Whatever. Maybe this will get better. I think this series we're covering today is going to be another fucking shitty one. So
you think so? And that was going to be the opening comment. Is everyone's so hot on Philadelphia now, including myself? Do the Diamondbacks stand a chance?
Stand a chance? Sure. I mean, who are we to say no? They've won 5 playoff games in a row. You still have Gallen and Kelly pitching 2 games each in the series, so every team has a chance. This isn't like Marlins Phillies we saw where there was like no chance the Marlins could beat them. This isn't like that. But I think that the Diamondbacks are going to be exposed. It's a 7-game series. They're going to have Brandon Pfaadt pitch twice. I know he pitched a lot better that second start, but he still didn't even go 5 innings. And then who's that 4th game starter? Where the Phillies have 4 starters. Phillies have 6.
I don't know who their 4 starter is.
I'm guessing Ryan Nelson?
That's not good.
No.
They're a team that seems built for a 5-game series and not necessarily 7.
You're a team that's built for a 2-game series.
Is Zach Davies on this roster?
Oh, he shouldn't be. He's horrible. They got to go with Ryan Nelson over Zach Davies. And Zach Davies has had a fine career. Like, it's not about that. But, I mean, what are we doing? I mean, it's a playoff. It's an LCS game.
Yeah.
So we confronted this with the Rangers preview. The Rangers have Eovaldi and Montgomery at the top. And then they're going to, I think, do a piggyback day with Andrew Heaney and Dane Dunning. And then it's like a smash a pinata and see if Jonathan Gray or Max Scherzer comes out of it for a 4th game.
You could always have Martin Perez. I don't know. He hasn't been around in a long time.
He hasn't started since the end of June, I think.
Yeah,
he's been relieving. But back to this. Listen, man, if the Snakes can hit the Phillies, like that's the equation here. That is how the Phillies make this. That's how the Diamondbacks make this series. Is they just bludgeon pitching like they've just been red hot doing? Then yeah, you're going to be in this game. It doesn't matter who you're pitching.
I think it matters who you're pitching. I think the reason they've been hot is because who they've been going up against.
What I'm saying is they're not going to be winning 2-1 games. Like I think the Diamondbacks need to score a lot of runs in this series if they're going to extend this into the 6 or 7 range and make this a true series. Like they're not going to be able to win these. We just talked about their pitching. Like they are going.
I'm on the other side of this completely. I think the only way they win is if it's low scoring. If it's Gallen and Kelly just basically completely neutralizing that offense. If it's a slugfest, they're going to lose. They're going to lose every game.
But it's going to be a slugfest. Like their pitching is going to give up runs. Their pitching is going to give up runs.
Then they're fucked.
What are the odds right now? I was actually curious.
It's not that bad.
This is going to give me hope. Actually, yeah, you're right. It's not. It's 178. Phillies.
Yeah, it was 170 when the LCS ended.
That goes up a little bit. 150.
I love the Diamondbacks. Love the Diamondbacks at that price.
That's not crazy. Yeah, I do too. I think it should
Diamondbacks is plus 145.
It should be 200. Yeah. It feels like it should be
Phillies
200
plus 145 to win the series.
I think it's a great bet. They've won 5 in a row. Zach Gallen is the best pitcher in the series.
Yeah. No.
So
maybe yes. Wheeler. Yeah. Gallen.
I'd probably go Wheeler.
I might go Gallen.
Wheeler looked fucking hittable the other night.
Wheeler's ridiculous.
But Gallen has a better repertoire.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say to go more on a little bit of Klemmer's side. The Diamondbacks have a strength, in my opinion, here. It's late inning pitching. If Seawald can look like how he's done, Ginkel has looked very, very good. Like those guys need to be absolutely nails in this series. I look at that Phillies back end. Like when they brought out Kimbrel yesterday in the 7th inning, and he threw 13 pitches alone just to get that out, and then he gets 2 outs in the 8th. I had no idea how they were going to finish that game. None. They pieced it together. Credit to Philly Rob, but it scared me. Like, yeah, they got through it unscathed. Good job by them. But I took a glimpse in the future, and I'm like, that could be an issue here. Like, Gregory Soto got through that game, but how much do you trust him moving forward? And if Kimbrel's going to, I don't know. Like you said, Klemmer, I think you said this a few shows ago. Kimbrel doesn't have a 4-out save this year.
No.
He's not a 4-out save guy either. He doesn't. No, I know. Last thing he ever wants is 4 outs.
So you need the other guys to really like carry the load there and step in. And that is asking, that's where I think Arizona has an edge here, is that bullpen.
Oh,
give Kimbrel
a big strong edge. Like that.
I think they're both in the same. They're both fucked. I mean, both bullpens are not very good.
I like how Arizona's is. Look, granted, they haven't been in like the most tight games, but I don't know.
Who do you like in that bullpen?
Let's get some benchmarks. Let's tighten this up for a second. I need some benchmarks here. Klemmer, grade the Diamondbacks bullpen A to F, and do the same.
For a playoff team or for any team?
Right now against each other for a playoff team in the NLCS.
As a playoff team, they have
do it against each other. Put it on a curve. I don't, don't compare them to the 86 Mets.
I'm going to compare them to what I consider to be a playoff team's bullpen, and to me, this is a C- bullpen for the Diamondbacks. For a playoff team.
What about the Phillies?
Phillies, I would probably give. I might give the Phillies a D+.
So you do think the Diamondbacks have a better bullpen?
I guess I do.
And that's what Hubbs was saying.
It is. No, you're right. No, but you were saying there's a big gap.
I think Ginkel and Seawald as your 8 and 9 guys are way better than what the Phillies have.
Alvarado's good.
I was going to say the same thing. I like Alvarado.
Alvarado's nasty shutdown stuff. Kimbrel, I don't love. However, I do love him pitching the 7th. I do
felt like more of a matchup like situation thing though. That's not a consistent
but he's cranky and very demanding about his appearances. And you'd say even in the postseason, maybe not at this chapter in his career, but his I guess his pedigree in these situations is like don't put me in unless it's a safe situation.
That felt like the last night more of a new age look at how you should use a closer, which I don't necessarily agree with because I don't know. I go back and forth because guys are such a creature of habit, and like you're almost talking about, like very stickler about when you're used. So like it depends on the pitcher. It's probably a case by case with the pitcher of like, hey, how comfortable are you just coming in here when we need the biggest outs of the game? That's what they did last night, and clearly Kimbrel's okay with it because he came in, he did the job, did a great job. I don't know if that's a consistent thing. I don't know. That felt like, hey, we can't go back to Atlanta, and Acuna's coming up.
Is this Saalfrank guy for real?
Who?
This Andrew Saalfrank, the pitcher they have. He's a rookie. He pitched 10 innings, hasn't allowed a run, and then he pitched basically he's had 2 appearances in each of the past 2 series for the Diamondbacks. Someone I didn't really know anything about at all.
No, nothing.
And he's been dynamite. He's been fantastic. And if that's like a piece, if you can have someone like that who has now thrown 12 innings in the big leagues, hasn't allowed a run, excuse me, and you can have this guy go in there and pitch that 7th inning, that 6th inning, that's when the Diamondbacks maybe do start to level up a little bit. And I'm like, all right, maybe they are not a C-, maybe they're a C+. If they can give me 2 more arms that I really believe in there, and the Phillies haven't really shown that, the Phillies have a kid too, that Orion kid. So you have each team has rookies, like guys who rookies. They have like a month of service time, playing potentially huge roles for them.
Yeah. Orion's been very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Started the season in single A or high A. They like cutting to his dad because he went viral for crying during his debut, and it was a little annoying at the time. I wish I knew he had a plus slider. Thing's 87, 88, unbelievable depth on it. And he's got 98, 99 in the tank behind it. I just want to recognize this moment as a Cubs fan. I'll never see anybody like that come up in our farm system. They're just like myths. This guy with a fucking unbelievable slider. Now, he's in the mix with Alvarado, Kimbrel. Who are the other guys at the end of the Phillies bullpen?
Soto.
Yes, okay. So Soto, no fucking bueno.
Hoffman stinks too. I shouldn't say stinks. Like just for like this situation, like he's a fine reliever to have in your bullpen. But in this situation where the outs do mean more, and you're facing just higher level of talent, it's tough.
I don't hate Sir Anthony Dominguez. I don't hate him. I like him more than Soto. I feel like
me too. Yeah, I'm with you on
that. Hoffman, not a lot of trust there. Strom was fucking nails yesterday.
I like Strom a lot.
Yeah, he's
He's
not like that
all year.
He wasn't like that with Boston when he was with Boston, but that was a good version of Strom last night.
But he even started with them. Remember when they were having some rotation issues in April? He was their starter, and he was going not deep into games, but 3, 4, 5 innings. I bet if they're really in a jam and they needed Strom to pitch, he seems like a guy that can go out there and pitch.
Well, I'm almost positive he left Boston because he wanted to start, and they wouldn't let him. He wanted to get a chance to start, and they're like, nah. And that's yeah.
Boston turning down starting pitching is rich to think about in hindsight.
I hope that was the right guy I said. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, he's a piece for sure. I just maybe the Phillies have more guys to semi-trust, but I think the 8-9 for what Arizona has right now, I feel very good about, and Ginkel and Seawald. You guys look excellent.
I want to call out Rob Thompson quick because you just brought it up. I just want to lightly emphasize this because you brought it up, Hubbs. I love that Rob Thompson went to Alvarado in the 6th. That's something we've talked or that's something that gets talked about. New age baseball, ditching the closer parameters. Not saying this correctly. It's a new age baseball thing and getting rid of like the antiquated, like, well, I'm a closer. I only pitch the 9th with a 3-run lead or less. It's like, well, you're that guy because you have our nastiest stuff. So like, why can't I use our nastiest stuff in the 6th inning when it's more important in its time? And it takes balls to do that. And I just want to go back to Rob Thompson's career sitting on the bench and like never getting the opportunity to make the decisions. And so like now that he's in a spot to make the decisions, he's going with what people say is a sensible thing to do. I just love Rob Thompson. I really want to emphasize that. Him going to Alvarado in the 6th, I just loved it.
Yeah, also, I mean, you have to credit players for buying into that kind of game plan. Yeah. Like, that's not easy. Baseball, too. Like, I touched on it. Creatures of habit, man. Like, they like to know when they're going in. The old days, be like, you're the 7th guy, you're the 8th guy. Now that's not there anymore because people take that logic, Carl, of like, hey, man, you're really fucking good. We need you like now. We can't wait 3 innings. The game might be over. We might be losing. There might not be a save situation now. Our offense might score 6 runs next inning, and we might not. Like, we need these outs right here. I like that logic. Yeah, sure. It's hard because I grew up watching so much baseball where you did have a closer who was the 9th inning guy. You did have a setup man, but it makes more sense the way this is. Get the most important outs when they come up.
Who has the best bullpen left in these teams? I think it's the Astros, which is not that great.
They have 3 shutdown arms, though.
They do.
It's not Texas.
Yeah. The Texas bullpen's atrocious.
It's a ticking time bomb. That's what it is.
I like that we're spending this much time on the bullpen because I think some of these other things are more obvious.
Yeah, exactly. No, people are going to talk about Bryce Harper and Corbin Carroll and what Nola and Merrill Kelly shape up to. Yeah, no, but the bullpens is where the games are won.
I have an exercise for...
They haven't been this series. Like, it just hasn't been. Like, the Rays, the best bullpen going in, and they got stomped. These games haven't been close, so the bullpen actually hasn't been as important.
No, but when it should, like, these games, as the teams who are playing the best match up to each other, in theory, we're getting closer games.
I don't know if we're going to in this series. I really don't think this is going to be an incredibly competitive series. Now, let me preface this. I'm stupid. I thought the Dodgers... Yes. I thought the Dodgers could sweep the Diamondbacks. I even put money on. Like, I was like, all right, I'll take a flyer on that. I know insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. I expect a different result, but like, I really think there's a really good chance that this is over in 4 or 5 games.
Okay. Fair. I respect your baseball acumen. You've been tremendous all season long. I'm not going to turn around now and start shitting on that take. There's a lot of recent data. You like data. A ton of it recently. Like this playoff series that says, fuck your favorite. Like it doesn't matter. The Diamondbacks have won 5 in a row. They have a tremendous amount of momentum. Yep. They run the bases hard. They're carefree. They're almost too young and inexperienced to feel the pressure. You want to say that? Do they give a fuck?
I don't care about any of that, but okay.
You don't like it, obviously, but I heard almost having a blast.
You can't put a number to it, so Klemmer just dismisses.
Well, I'm not going to analyze what's in their heads if I can't get inside their heads.
Well, they went into Milwaukee and then they went into Los Angeles and they outscored both opponents 30-11 in 5 games. Mm-hmm. On biggest, highest, whatever.
Against a pitching staff that is in shambles.
They were down 3-0 against Corbin Burns and won on the road.
Right.
You know what they are to me? They're a team that's playing with house money, and that is a dangerous team to play. Like
are they not dangerous to play, or they're just playing house money? They're not that good, and they're gonna that house money. That money runs out pretty quick.
All right, pick. Let's do an exercise. I got an exercise. Pick one. Zach Gallen or Zach Wheeler.
For this series, obviously.
I mean, no, for 3 years from now. Who would you rather get? Who would you rather have lunch with? Who would you rather have lunch with?
in total. For this series only, I go with Gallen. It's a very slight edge, though.
It's tough because the Gallen start's going to be on the road. I wish it was at home. But okay, keep going.
He'll make 2 starts.
I have a sneaky feeling. I'll get into it, but I think Arizona wins game 1, but we'll get it.
We're in the middle of an exercise here, guys.
Yep,
I think this exercise will be valuable for Klemmer, if no one else. Would you rather have Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly or Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola?
The latter.
The latter.
Here's the biggest difference, though.
How much more would you rather have, Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola versus
Tiny
Gallen to Zach Wheeler? Like, how much does Aaron Nola swing this, I should ask?
Oh, not that much. This is very close.
All right, and we already said that the Diamondbacks bullpen is, like, marginally better.
I'd say a little bit better.
If we have to go full-blown roster wars here.
Then we don't, because the next step is this. You asked a question, but you're only asking half the question. Who would I rather have, Zach Gallen or Zach Wheeler? I'd rather have Gallen by a small amount. Who would I rather have, Zach Gallen facing Arizona's offense or Zach Wheeler facing Philadelphia's offense? If that's the case, then it's not even a question. I'd much rather have Zach Wheeler facing Arizona's offense. That's why I asked what series.
I don't think Gallen would say that. I don't think he gives a fuck at all. It's not going to change his approach or what he throws.
I don't really care what he thinks. I care about how he's going to perform against them. I just believe that much in the Phillies offense. I think that offense is legitimately scary. And I'm not terrified of Arizona's offense. I think Corbin Carroll's great. Tommy Pham's red hot. I like Ketel Marte a lot. But that's not an offense that would keep me awake at night.
Ask the Dodgers how they feel about that offense. Ask the Dodgers how they feel about that offense.
I'm sure the Dodgers are probably more concerned with their own shitty pitching staff, which they should be concerned about.
I think that Arizona lineup is underrated, and that's crazy because they're in the NLCS. But they got some balance to them, and they've been shitting on some pitching. Now, obviously, Phillies pitching is a whole lot better than starting pitching is a whole lot better than the Dodgers. There's part of me that looks at that gambling line. Something about that line. That Phillies should be minus 200 in this series. Yeah. Maybe even a little higher. And the fact that they're only 178, it's a little telling to me that I think Arizona's getting some respect from Vegas here. And for that, I think, I'm sure we're going to do predictions at the end, but I think Arizona can give some fight here. I still think the Phillies have it, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as you're saying, Klemmer. That's all.
Do you guys care about I care deeply still about the regular season. Like, we've seen Diamondbacks for 5 games. It's a very small sample size. Over the course of the season, the Diamondbacks offense has been mid.
But this is your version, though. Like, the playoffs is about getting red hot, and they are red hot. Like, this is it's just what the playoffs are about.
They were red hot 3 days ago.
Who gives a fuck what the Arizona Diamondbacks are doing in June right now? I don't care.
But they don't care what they were doing 5 days ago so much. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't like they're playing every day. You're getting these huge breaks. We saw what those breaks do to some teams. And now the Diamondbacks are basically having a break of their own.
The break is fair. The break is a fair point. It is going to be quite some time since the Arizona Diamondbacks have last played. The Braves are crying about fucking rest here. I don't want to talk about rest anymore. I'm so tired of that Braves narrative and this fucking losers. I'm so happy they're home and not playing in the series.
I think it's much closer. I do.
Yeah.
Why? I guess I don't get it.
The Diamondbacks have so many impact players.
I don't think they have that many impact players. I guess I'm missing this. What in their lineup? They have impact players.
Yeah. Marte and Corbin Carroll.
Yes.
Are complete game changers.
Christian Walker. Yes.
Christian Walker's a big bat.
No question. Now what?
I like those guys a lot.
Okay. That's not that many. We need 3 guys.
I certainly don't hate how Gabby Moreno's swinging the bat right now.
He's not an impact player, though.
He's gotten a lot better this season. 23-year-old catcher. Playing his best baseball of the year. But
so this is another thing. Like, Klemmer can't articulate and calculate having momentum and being hot because he's this nerd who just looks at numbers.
It's not true. You might know. I'm going to stop you again with that. You got to get off that narrative, man. Like, you've gone against me. You know it's not like that. Like, you
got to talk like that.
I don't talk like that. You guys are so hitched on these weird narratives of a very small amount of time. Like Moreno has had 7 home runs all year. Like,
But
stop.
he's on fire right now.
He played a week ago. They played 5 games against some shitty pitchers and the Dodgers have.
Dude, October's not getting hot. I don't care what he was doing in June.
It's momentum. So then the Phillies momentum doesn't count? Like, which momentum means more? How do we measure this momentum, you guys?
I think the Phillies are going to win the World Series. What are you talking about?
JT Realmuto looked like shit against Spencer Strider. If we want to do that, I'll go through and tell you exactly what I thought of each guy on the Phillies. Like Kyle Schwarber's just hunting, missing, gone, lost. So he can get exposed easily the first 2 games of the series if we want to talk momentum. JT Realmuto is out to fucking lunch. And the stress of those innings add up behind home plate over the postseason. He looked like shit. What do you want me to say? Bryce Harper is a butcher at first base. Absolute butcher. He's gonna cost. He'll cost at least 1 run in the game or in this series. Will be given to the Diamondbacks because Bryce Harper at first base.
He should have had that scoop, correct? I'm correct in my assumption.
So you guys agree
that Turner throw?
Yeah, probably should have. You agree that Realmuto is struggling right now a little bit, right?
He's Captain America, but he's looked better.
Okay, let me ask you this. Who would you rather have as your catcher for this series? Realmuto or Gabby Moreno?
Yeah, I mean, I would rather have Realmuto. For the series, I would rather have Realmuto.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right.
But I'm not dismissing Moreno as a guy who can potentially impact this game with how he's looked at the plate lately.
That doesn't mean Moreno's
anyone can potentially impact anything. Now we're just talking like ESPN people, just saying vague stuff.
No, but you asked for impact players. I'm like, I
heard 3.
Alec Thomas isn't an impact bat for them. But I think Gabby Moreno, from what we've seen of late and how that swing looks, like, I'm not dismissing him.
We've done this show for so many weeks.
And you've been wrong a lot.
And you've been wrong a lot.
I have.
I mean, we've all been wrong. I mean, no shit. You make predictions on the show, you're going to be wrong. You know that. You've been doing this longer than I have. What are we doing? Listen, we've been doing this show for so long and for so many weeks. And for us to kind of throw out almost all of what we talked about because someone had a good 5-game stretch seems crazy to me.
No, we're not throwing it out. I'm not taking down the Phillies as much as I'm elevating the Diamondbacks.
Right.
I'm not discounting what the Phillies accomplished against the Braves or any of this. I'm saying I think the Diamondbacks have a stronger chance, and they're not a rollover team. Corbin Carroll is not the best player on the field, but he's certainly not far behind. Ketel Marte is probably the 6th best player in the series. Then you can get to 7 to 15 and start really splitting hairs.
But
I think Zach Gallen is fucking awesome. I think Merrill Kelly's got a wealth of experience to draw upon here. He's a solid 2.
Yes.
You know, he can compete with Aaron Nola in these first 2 games of series. And if they split those, they'll compete in games 5 and 6. Like, I think it's very close there. The Phillies won yesterday 3-1. Mm-hmm. They didn't beat the brakes off the Braves.
They faced a great pitcher.
Correct. Who made mistakes and got hammered for them.
But just solo shots, because he doesn't make too many mistakes. Like, I think Strider, obviously, he took the loss and he got out-pitched, but he pitched pretty fucking good. Look, I mean, I think this goes like 4 or 5 games. I'll say 4. I'll lean into it. I also like the fact that it'll be over before you see Gallen again. Like, what do you guys see from this series?
I think Arizona wins game 1.
How many games does the series go?
6. Phillies in 6.
All right.
I think Arizona wins game 1.
Okay.
I lean Phillies in the series because the lineup is very good. So it's a National League pennant team from last year that essentially added Trey Turner.
But lost Rhys Hoskins, I guess. If you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, but Trey Turner's
way better.
You also have the Diamondbacks pitching Pfaadt and then Tommy Henry. Like the Phillies have 6 starters.
Yeah, but after Wheeler, like Nola looked good his last start, right?
Nola's really good.
Right. But, and this goes against what I just said, but he didn't have that great of a year. Like, Nola could easily get exposed here.
But Nola has great stuff.
He does. But
analytically speaking, his stats line up to being successful, and he has the all-important momentum. So therefore, he should pitch no-hitters and stuff we're going to see.
All right.
I'm excited.
But what I'm saying is Wheeler, bona fide, awesome. And I trust him in October. Big like guy who fucking doesn't get fazed by the moment. Awesome guy. I'm just saying after that, they have names. Like, we struggle to figure out who their 4th pitcher is on Arizona, right? And we know, hey, like, it could be Sanchez, game 4, for the Phillies. That helps the Phillies, no doubt. But I also could see Arizona hitting everyone after Wheeler. Like, I just could. Like, I'm not, like, totally terrified of everyone after Wheeler. And obviously, you can say the exact same thing on the other side after Merrill Kelly.
I think there's a different line, though. I think who the Phillies, Aaron Nola and, Suarez and Sanchez are all much better than Tommy Henry and Brandon Pfaadt.
They are, and that's why I say that I think Arizona has to win these games in high-scoring affairs because I don't think their pitching is going to be able to shut down the Phillies' offense. I think Arizona's going to have to score a bunch of runs.
I don't think the Phillies have the offense. I don't think the Diamondbacks have the offensive power to dominate the Phillies' pitching. So that's why I don't think this will be a very long series.
That is where we disagree. I still think the Phillies in 6. Still think the Phillies in 6.
No, I'm leaning Phillies, but I think it's 7. I think it's 7 games.
7 games?
7's a lot. I don't know if I can scratch 3 off there.
I hope you're right. I'd love a great series.
I really do think I'm starting to really sell myself. I think Gallen pitching game 1 in Philly. I could see him. That's a big game for him, and I think seeing a Gallen 7 innings, 2 runs or something. I think Gallen really shows up there, and I think they steal game 1, and then we have a series from there. That'd be great. I think that's what everyone should be rooting for, as long as you're not a Philly fan. Like, you want Arizona to win game 1, and like, let's go. Also, a little bit of a fun narrative. Gallen grew up 15 minutes from Philadelphia. So that's cool. He should have a good contingent there, making their way over. I don't know if that makes him. He doesn't seem like a guy who's going to get nervous off of that fact. Like, his heartbeat's always at 50. That guy's just so calm, cool, collected. But that is a cool little wrinkle that, and I'm sure they're going to beat the shit out of with the broadcast. But he's grew up 20 minutes from Philly.
He's a special dude. I expect big things from him.
The Phillies, by the way, are the Diamondbacks are plus 136 that game 1. So if you think they could win, there's some money to be made there.
Pardon me, say that again?
That's a good line. I like Arizona.
Diamondbacks are plus 136 money line for that game 1.
That is a nice, respectful line, I think, from Vegas to Arizona there. I like that.
I agree.
So that has Phillies 165? 165?
Minus 162. Yep, exactly.
I'll apply some of the stuff we talked earlier about season stats. Here's where I would care about season stats. You said Gallen's been way worse on the road this year, right, Klemmer?
Yeah.
So that I would consider.
But he's been decent in the playoffs. He hasn't been. I wouldn't call him lights out, but both those games were road games, and he's been okay.
Yeah.
Aaron Nola has given up almost a 430 slug this year. So the Diamondbacks, who don't particularly have a high slug, but don't strike out a ton, steal a buttload of bases. That's a good matchup if they see Aaron Nola twice. I'm going to go on record. It's a great matchup for the Diamondbacks. Load up with lefties, patient approaches, middle other way against a sinker. I like this matchup, dude. And it's I don't know what the numbers are. Baseball gut guy instinct. Just I like the Diamondbacks. I like the way they play. But I still have the Phillies in 7.
MLB is rooting for the Phillies.
Of course they are.
If it's Arizona like Houston, we're the only watchers.
All right. Klemmer's cheering for the ratings too. Phillies for the ratings.
I have a future in the Phillies, so because I've always liked the Phillies going to these playoffs. I like the Phillies a lot, but I'm just rooting for good baseball. Obviously, I want my future to hit ideally, but I think that if the Diamondbacks go out there and Zach Gallen does like a Brett Saberhagen in 1985, and it's like, oh fuck, this guy is legit. Like that would be awesome. Be great for baseball. I met him. He's nice enough to come to Pick Central. Great guy. I would love that. I just want good. What I want more than anything is competitive LCSs and a great World Series, because this first 2 weeks have been awful. So I really want to see some really great baseball. That would make me very happy.
Well said. This is the NLCS preview show. Hopefully it's a good series. ALCS should be a dynamite series. Both of these series previews are out, exist individually. Of course, you just heard that. Of course, it's fucking out. But I'm saying that because we are still going to release the 4-man power ranking panel show on Monday morning after Sunday night's game. I don't care if it's 20 minutes long. I don't care if it's 5 minutes long, if it's an hour long. We are doing the 4-man show.
That sounds good. I have to stream Sunday night, but we could do it after I stream if you guys want. I'll be there.
Perfect. I would love to do that. And keep your eyes peeled. We will be doing a watch along for at least one, if not two, of the championship series games. I get ahead of myself. Follow Klemmer and tell him if he's right or wrong.
Or Hubbs. Follow Hubbs and tell him he's wrong.
No, I was just, I'm Hubbs.
Everyone just yell at Klemmer.
No, why? At the end of the day, you guys agree with me. You guys are just fighting to fight. Like, you guys agree with me that the Phillies are going to win this, and then you'd be like, oh, the Phillies did win.
Arizona game 1.
I like that. I like that idea. I disagree with the pick, but I like the
Line screams Arizona. Arizona game 1.
Until next time.